Hello, all you crew fans out there. Well, we're going to already start talking now about our next open server. We're going to be having an open server April 28th. That's basically 2 weeks from when you see this video uploaded on YouTube. Now, we're going to do things a little different this time. We're going to actually have people sign up for slots for different events. This is kind of like what we did on one of the first open servers I ever did way back when it was just me, Lizzie, Paige, and Abby. And this is where some of the people like Giz and Extra and Mario came and played with us. So what we're going to do is you're going to come to the form, and there's a link to this sign-up form in the description of this video. Now when you come here, you're going to want to fill out this form in its entirety. Anything that has a red asterisk next to it, you have to answer. So let's go through these things real quick. First thing is your Minecraft name. You need a Minecraft account that's paid for. You can't have a hacked account. It will not work. Don't ask us. So put your name in here. Be very sure you spell your Minecraft name correctly. If you don't, it won't work when you try to log into the open server if you make it, because whatever name you give me is what I'm going to whitelist. And if your name's incorrectly spelled, you won't get on, and there's nothing we can do about it. Next up, these next 3 items are 3 different ways that we can contact you to let you know if you made it into the open server. So you can put your YouTube account name here if you wish. If you don't have one, put NA. Your email address. Now this is what I'd prefer you to use, is to give us an email address. If you don't have one or you don't want to divulge it, then put NA here. Or your third option is your username on our forum. If you're not on our forum or you don't want to be on our forum, put NA here. But you have to have one of these 3 methods or I will not be able to contact you. So choose one of the 3. You can put information for all 3. If you have multiple entries, I will probably favor emails first. Forums is the next method to contact you, and then YouTube last. But if you only put your YouTube account name, that's fine. We'll contact you that way. So put what you feel comfortable putting. Now, next up, what games would you like to play? We're going to basically be doing Game of Craft, Don't Be Last, and then Spleefing. Now you can see these all start at different times, and they're hour-and-a-half time slots. So we're going to play for about an hour and 15 in each one, and then all those people who are in that time slot will leave, and then the next time slot will come in. These times are GMT -5, which is Eastern Standard Time here in the United States, so like the East Coast, say New York City. If you're in England, for instance, you would add 5 hours to this time. So instead of Saturday at 3 p.m., this would be Saturday at 8 p.m. If you're, say, in California, you're on the West Coast, you're GMT -8. This number would be 12 p.m. So it would be noon on Saturday, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. in the UK. So you're going to have to figure out your time zones and pick up to 2 different things or 2 things on here. So say you love Game of Craft. You could say, I want to play in Game of Craft, and you sign up for both times. That's fine. You could say, I love Game of Craft, but this is too early for me. This is too late, so I chose Don't Be Last or Spleefing. You can choose any combination of 2 things you want, or you can just pick one thing. If you pick nothing, or you check more than 2 boxes, your entry will just be ignored. So please only select 2 things or 1 thing. If you select none or you select 3 through 6, you will be basically your entry will be voided. I am not going to accept multiple entries. So if you screw something up on this form, you're not going to make it. I kind of took that line with the mole and I backtracked because people had so much trouble filling out the form and had to resubmit it. But it's a pain for us to go through. So you should be sure you go through this entire form before you submit it. Make sure everything's correct and then hit submit. Now if you look at these times, these first 3, Game of Craft, Don't Be Last, and Spleef, that's our first 3 things we're going to do, and then we're going to have a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back and do the Game of Craft, Don't Be Last, and Spleef again. Now the reason for that is these are the 3 things we want to do, and we're going to do them in 2 different slots so that, say, the people in the UK or in Europe are more likely to want to play in these first 3 groups. And people in the United States or on the West Coast or at least in U.S. time zones, may prefer these latter 3. Each of these blocks is an hour and a half long. About an hour and 15 into it's when we'll start to ramp it up to give us about 10 or 15 minutes to get ready for the next group. After the 3rd group of spleefing is done here, there's an actual half-hour break for us so we can catch some wind, maybe have a drink, get a snack if we need it, and then we'll resume on with the next 3. So I'm going to give you guys basically 10 days to fill out this form to sign up. If you hear from us after the 10th day, probably give us a day or 2, but about 2 days before the event, you'll hear from us telling you with an email or with a YouTube private message or a private message on our forum who made it. If you hear from us, you're in. And I'll post a video saying that we've sent out all the mass messages to everybody and to check your email, check your YouTube or whatever. If you don't hear from us, you didn't make it. Now, we won't be able to get everybody in. We're doing smaller groups and smaller settings like this, so it can be a little bit more personal, so we'll get to interact more directly with you guys instead of, 400 people trying to get onto an open server and have 100 people running around, and it's just chaos. So if you don't make this one, don't be upset. We're going to do this again in May, and for people who don't make it, we're going to keep track of you. And if you sign up in May, we'll make sure that you're given a priority over people who've already been in it in April. So we hope to see you guys on the 28th. Sign up. We'll give about 10 days. I'll send out a video probably warning people that the time for sign-ups is nearing completion. And then probably 2 days before the open server, April 26th, we will contact everybody who made it and let you know which time slot you made and any other information we feel you'll need beforehand. So we look forward to seeing you guys April 28th.